Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I want to share with you a little review of Glacier Basin and Moraine Lake Campgrounds, two main campgrounds on the eastern side of Rocky Mountain National Park, our 32nd national park that we visited. I was always confused though, which one should I camp at when making my reservations. Hopefully this video will help you. As I do with my other campground videos in national parks, I'll show you some of the attractions in the area as well. As we drove into Rocky Mountain National Park in July of 2022, we were greeted by a bunch of elk. Pretty awesome experience to welcome us to the park. The entrance through the main gates was not an issue at all for us, very little lines. However, when you get to Bear Lake Road, there was very long lines. You had to have permits, car permits to do the daily access. So please, if you're going to log in online, you don't have a campground reservations, make sure you get those permits. One advantage of those campground reservations is it gets you access to this road and into Moraine Park and up towards Glacier Basin Campground. Very beautiful areas. Moraine Park campground area is kind of known for its large meadows and the elk that you might see. Not so much the majestic views that you get at Glacier Basin, as you can see here. So some of the big difference in the scenery. Both are on the shuttle route low up to Bear Lake, very popular hiking area. If you're going in the middle of the day, you're not going to find parking up here in the middle of the summer, just too crowded, so I highly recommend taking the shuttle. Bear Lake has a beautiful little nature trail around the lake, and if you choose to do a little bit more hiking, there's a bunch of higher alpine lakes, Nymph Lake, Dream Lake, Emerald Lake, that you should check out. Here's a view of Nymph Lake. We encountered a bunch of wildlife and ducks at this lake. We were lucky enough to have 3 nights at Glacier Basin Campground. Actually, this is probably my favorite campground of the two, just from the majestic views of the mountains that you can see out in the distance. It's further up the Bear Lake Road though, so not as close to Estes if you're trying to go into town. I'm going to walk you around the campground here so you can kind of see the amenities. You actually park on the grass off the loop, which isn't so bad. You have the picnic tables. It's a fire ring. And close to the bathrooms, there's actually a tent pad, which is not too bad if you have a tent. And you got the bathrooms that are relatively modern, so with power inside. I'm not sure when they built these bathrooms, but very nice inside with the power, mirrors, and running water. Very nice facilities overall. Also at camp, you can actually do some hiking. There's some trails in the area that take you to various lakes, and you can do group camping out here on the prairies. There's a loop with large group sites, if that's of an inkling to you. Besides the campground, for services, there's water as well as a dump station. The water here, you can fill up jugs and haul back to your rig or to your campsite. And like I said, you can always dump your waste at the dump station near the exit of the campground. As we drive through the front entrance here, I'll show you the dump station I was just referring to, but also give you a feel for what maybe some of the loops look like in the campground here at Glacier Basin. Let's check it out. As you're approaching here, you can actually see the green dumpsters that put your trash in, but you also have sewer dump here as portable and potable water. So you can dump your rigs if you actually have an RV. As we drive around the loop, you can kind of give a flavor for some of the camp spots. These camp spots in some places are fairly exposed or open, not a lot of tree coverage for most of the campground, but there are loops with tree coverage. If you got a bigger rig low and RV, you're probably going to be out here in these open loops. But plenty of space between you and your neighbors. A very nice place to be camped. One of the nice things about this campground, as I mentioned, I've shown you, is the bathrooms. Very surprised by how new they are. So overall, this is a great campground. Lots of space between sites. Got great facilities. I highly recommend this place. Besides the camping, there's lots of great trails and hiking like I was mentioning. In my videos, I try to give you a bit of flavor for what the campgrounds are like and the loops, as you can see in this speed up version. But I also try to show you some of the attractions, the adventures you can do around camping and not just show you all the loops. So hopefully you appreciate that. If you like this type of content, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Hit that smash button and like the content. This loop that we camped in was fairly exposed, very few trees. There are loops, though, in the Glacier Basin area that have trees that are mostly designated for tent camping. You can't really park RVs in them, but let's take a look at what those look like just before we head over to Moraine and check out that campground. As we drive this new loop with the trees, you can see these tents on the left where people are camping, but you do have shade in here, which makes it nice if you're trying to just do the tent type camping. Again, kind of have your options at this Glacier Basin campground, whether you want to be out in the exposed or you want to get in these trees. The views would not be as great camping in these trees, but it definitely give you some more shade and potentially more privacy if you're looking for that. Our last day here, we actually saw some elk in camp, which was pretty awesome. I want to show you some showers that they have in camp for hanging bags, if I've never seen before. I have never seen a rinse station at a campground. Kind of cool. Let's check this out. I guess you hang your bag. But if you did it yourself, you can take a shower. It's got a little drain there too. Pretty cool. Hopefully you like the review of Glacier Basin. Such great views, majestic views of the mountains and the snow. Let's go check out Moraine Park and give you a feel for that place. The road down to Moraine Campground is right there. Some of the camp spots get to view that valley. So, and if you go about 6 miles up this road, you get to Glacier Basin Campground, which I think I might like more. As you can see from that previous video right there of showing you the meadow out there, such lots of wildlife out there in the evenings if you're looking to try to find some elk. As we drive into the campground here at Moraine Park, it's actually the largest camp spot or the campground in Rocky Mountain National Park with 245 sites. So much bigger campground. Elevation's a little bit lower, around 8,160 feet here compared to Glacier Basin. Definitely get more shade, bigger trees in this campground. You're not going to have those majestic views you have at Glacier Basin. But overall, very nice campground. We didn't actually camp here. Some of the camp spots, as you just saw there, are you can hike up to the ridge, maybe get a good view if you're willing to hike a little bit. The bathrooms do look older here, so not as modern, if you will, as the previous campground at Glacier Basin. But still a lot of space between sites in the speed up video. Overall, a pretty nice campground. Wouldn't be a bad place to be. Still some good enough spots for RVs, some great tent spots, people hanging their hammocks between these trees. Very nice campground. So if depending on what you get from a reservation standpoint, I know reservations can be very challenging this summer. I think either campground would be great. This campground is about 6 miles closer to the town of Estes. So if you're running into town to get supplies or maybe go visit a restaurant, this campground might be a better suit if you don't want to drive as far. As far as cell signal, neither campground has cell signal. However, between Glacier Basin and this campground, there is one spot we discovered we picked up signal, at least on Verizon. So that was surprising. So you check it out as you're driving between Moraine Park and Glacier Basin. You might actually find cell signal. So please leave a comment and tell me what your favorite campground is in Rocky Mountain National Park. Check out my other videos for more content on camping, RVing, backpacking, and adventure. Hopefully you like this video and please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Thanks for being here. Until our next adventure.